Welcome to The Voiceover with your host, D. Foster III, where we discuss relevant topics that affect the culture with bold, independent commentary. Get ready to be inspired, enlightened, and encouraged.
Softly, with our vote, selling us quietly, with our vote, with our vote. Are you tired of it yet? It's Friday, and welcome to the Voice Over Now podcast. I'm your host, D. Foster III, CEO and President of Wake Up Global Networks International. You know the spiel at the beginning. Like, subscribe, share, follow, hit the notification bell, push this content up in the algorithms so that it knows people like you want more conscious content. Want to say shout out to owner and operator WPB Media Networks, April J. and her mom, Pastor Maple Hall. I want to say welcome to another show. We're going to continue to get into some things when progress looks like progress, but it ain't nothing but the same old warmed over stew housed in deception. Hey, listen. Before we get started, I want to say thank you so much for liking this. Thank you so much for our faithful partners. If you feel generous, it costs us to come to you. We've celebrated over a year consistently. Y'all got to admit, consistently with not reactionary videos for the most part, but digging in content, bringing you information like today, doing our own research. And if you feel generous, the QR code to give to Wake Up is on the screen. Or if you don't see it, you can go to Wake Up, WAKEUPP03 at gmail.com. That's our Zelle, that's our PayPal. We would love to have your gift. No gift is too large and no gift is too small. Follow me on social media. It's DJ Change 111, DJ Change 111 on X and on IG. And you get a precursor of what we're doing, especially in our Patreon, which is growing. I play a little clips from our Patreon. We have our Mentees Circle. It's exciting. It is growing. If you want more information about being a subscriber to our Patreon, you can go over to our website, www.wakeupglobalnetworks.com, www.wakeupglobalnetworks.com. Don't forget, finally, to join us right here every Sunday morning at 7 o'clock for the live drop of the Voice of Hope Connection with thee and me. That's right. We give you a word to get you through the week, to understand who you are, to up your value so that you have the confidence going into the week that you can and will face anything. Well, okay. All right. The preliminary, the housekeeping is over. There's a lot going on. Now, I'm not going to get into this, at least into this show. Like, subscribe, share. I don't know. I have intuition. And they say that the Piscean energy, which I am, is one of the most intuitive of the signs. I don't know. Some people say Scorpio. I don't know if you believe in it. But anyway, I have an intuition. But one thing, whether Pisces or Scorpio, I have spirit. I have God living in me who gives me this inclination at times. And I have an intuition that this rap beef, that's what I'm going to call it, between Musk and Trump, maybe, just saying, maybe, this is my opinion, maybe a little bit of distraction. Wag the dog. And I'm not going to discuss that, but I would say, I would not be surprised because there's a lot on the table. There's this bill in Congress that needs to be passed that now everybody's attention is off of, and they got their eyes focused in on the new Kendrick and Drake beef, aka Trump and Musk. But anyway, I'll get into that maybe more. But what I do want to get into, and I told you last week that this subject is close, it's personal. So I'm very transparent. This is personal. and it's near and dear, but it's a bigger topic that I'm putting on the table. Now, we began last week by talking about the wonderful idea that the Commanders are now coming back, supposedly, into the old RFK Stadium in the middle. That's what I got. In the middle of Washington, D.C., on the backside of the filthy Anacostia River. Now, I can say that I am a native of D.C., so I know this. I'm talking from experience, right? I'm not going to rehash what we said last week, but let me read this from the Commanders, the Washington Commanders. They have a newsletter, and it says, it's called Raise Hail, Hail, my kind of letter, right? Mayor Bowser and Washington Commanders announced historic deal to sell out people of color. No, it doesn't say that. To bring the team home and activate 180 acres of opportunity at the RFK campus. Now, my position last week was, this is nostalgia. There's been a lot of nostalgia, if you follow it, concerning this football team for years when they were in their heyday, when they were the Washington Redskins and going to the Super Bowl with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, this used to be the team. Everybody bragged about the Redskins. And then something happened called, in my opinion, management or mismanagement. Same thing that's happening with this deal here that I'm going to get into. This is part 2 of when regression looks like progression. Because it looks like we're going forward when all the time when you lift up the covers and you roll back the curtains, it's really a regress. And I like to say this is a regress to a certain demographic group of people that is happening, which I'm going to get into, all across the country under Black, quote unquote, air quote, leadership. That's why I started off the show saying, are you tired of them selling you softly with your vote? Selling you softly with your vote. Telling all I... Anyway, that's the reality of it. Now, this deal on the surface looks like a good deal. And I told you I thought it was a horrible deal. And I gave you many reasons on the last show. But I'm going to press forward to my bigger fish that I have to fry. And it is not trout or whiting or spot. It's Black politicians. It's African-American politicians. But anyway, let's set the tone. So it looks like, let me finish reading this from Raise Hail. It says, Mayor Bowser and managing partner of the Washington Commanders, Josh Harris, announced a deal to bring the team home to activate 180 acres of opportunity with state-of-the-art roof. Now, I want you to listen to this very, very carefully. You have to read between the lines. You cannot be caught up in the matrix and understand really everything that's going on. Listen intently to hear what's not being stated. It says, with a state-of-the-art roof, entire campus to include housing. Now, if you know anything about the housing over in where JFK Stadium is, most of the house owners are, well, they were up until a couple of years ago, majority Black neighborhood. A lot of it now has transitioned, like most cities under Black leadership have, like Baltimore, Harbor East, some Upper Park Heights, Fulton Avenue, if you in the DMV. You see a melting pot now. But anyway, I'll get to that later. I want to stick to topic. And so this is a very prime neighborhood because it's in the District of Columbia. To me, is not located in the best section. I mean, it's off of Barrows Road. It's on Benning Road. Benning has a daggone subway train running right smack dab in the middle. There's crime committed at the shopping center. If you're going toward the city every other week, I mean, it's just a neighborhood. Now, let me ask you a question. I told you on this podcast, I don't tell you what to think. I just want you to think. I just lay it out so you can think. Have you ever seen anybody make any kind of investment, especially in quote unquote run down, crime ridden areas, and they're at some point, not regentification. I'm skipping through the bullshiggity this week. At some point, that regentification is not on their mind. Who takes good money and invests it in the midst of drug markets, and invested in the midst of crime, and invested in the midst of rundown houses? You best believe if people and investors, we're not talking about just federal money, because Washington doesn't get a lot of federal money, which I'll get to. These are private investors. They're in it to make money. Come on, think with me. They're in it to make money. Who puts their money in the middle of drug-infested market area, rundown housing area, homeless sleeping all over the place area, without saying, we're going to invest this, but we're going to change the demographics of the area? Now, are you saying, D. Foster 3, that they should not redevelop that Benning Road corridor? Absolutely, they should. They need to. But not with the motive that I'm reading here, with bringing the commanders back. See, I told you last week, it's bigger than the commanders. That's just my runway. It's bigger. The fish, I'm not trying to fry the commanders. First of all, I told you last week, I thought the idea was stupid, okay? Like my big brother used to say, Coach, life is hard, but it's harder when you're stupid. And I made my point last week that I don't want to go back over for time's sake. They're out in Largo. I know their contract is ending, and I know they have the pressure to come back into DC. Why? Number one, it's a tax base. It's a tax base. And then it gives them the fortitude to regentify that. And don't tell me, I've not seen one area of any inner city under Black leadership redeveloped without regentrification. I'm waiting for the Park Heights area now. I mean, I think this was the last year for the Preakness at Pimlico, because there's going to be a renovation and they bring in all new housing. Good, up in Pimlico. But as I have always stated, if you're going to run the residents out through redevelopment, and this is always a promise that's very seldom kept. Like this, share this, subscribe. And I've talked to contractors, and I'll get to that in a minute. I told y'all I got a lot on the platter today, okay? If you're going to displace residents like they did at Berry Farms over in Southeast, but fortunately they built housing a part of Berry Farm, and there was a strong movement over there to make sure that the residents that were displaced were brought back with, here's the key, not housing, affordable housing, based on their earned income, based on the average income in that metroplex, right? But many times that's not what, but Berry Farms, and I was over there a couple of months ago, that's exactly what they did. I'm not sure they're going to do that to areas like the Benning Road area, a major corridor in what that runs through Washington, D.C., into Prince George's County. Remember the shrimp boat? Yeah, the shrimp boat. All of that needs to be redeveloped. But here's the big key that we are not seeing, is the stadium part of a big plan for regentification to run Washingtonian, native Washington, because Washington to me is like New Orleans. Certain cities, every city has its culture, right? But certain cities have a strong culture. You know people from DC. And can I say that the native Washingtonians are slowly dying out, slowly disappearing. Why? being pushed into places. Come on, like this. Come on, I'm going to talk about it. I told you, you thought I was all spiritual content here? No, 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 no. We get down to get down, right? We get down to the get down. We get down to the get down, right? So the natives are slowly dying out. You don't see as many people saying, I'm from Washington. Why? What happened? Because in the 90s, late 2000s, or early 2000s, late 90s, mid 90s, after Mayor Barry under Anthony Williams, kind of sold the city out, pushed us out into places like Montgomery County, PG County, right? And the originals that stayed were of age, right? Like my grandparents and like my aunts. And they transitioned. And when they transitioned, their houses were sold, but we didn't buy their houses. Now we are out in PG County, out in Largo, out in Seat Pleasant. And the district has become a melting pot. But that's not a problem. I think God loves a melting pot, but it's only when a certain demographic is iced out of the pot. Like DC. I told you I went to Howard for an event about a year ago. I was astounded. See, when I walked the campuses of Howard, 90s, it was pretty much a black college. Pretty much black college, kind of like Norfolk State, etc., Morehouse, things like that. I saw every tribe, every race, every creed. I was like, where am I? I rode up Georgia Avenue, where my grandfather's church was on Georgia Avenue, about 10 blocks from Howard. I said, I don't even know when we got to the corner where his church used to be. Now, I want you to understand the bigger picture. I am not a dinosaur fighting change. Anybody who knows me, anybody who follows me understands I probably ignite more progressive change than the average person you know in my category, or in kingdom, or in ministry, or with some kind of title. Change and radical change. But what I am against is the cover up and the denial and the falsehood that we are going to develop something which is really, and I put this stadium in the category, a way of edging a certain class, a certain ethnic group out of the, because I think it's no surprise ever since the 90s when New York changed and regentrification started to take place in Manhattan, that most major cities are on that path, especially black leaders. Now that's where I want to get to. I ain't buying it. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying the spiel of buy black anymore necessarily. And I'm certainly not buying the spiel of vote black necessarily. Now, you say why? I'm coming back to the commanders. I told you, I got a lot like this. Share this, subscribe. Yeah, we talk about it here. I told you, straight no chaser Friday. If you look at, and I'm going to just pull up some of the most vocal, and probably because we like to put people in categories in our culture, prominent or popular mayors. If you look up the cities that most of our mayors, where's it at? Prominent mayors are over. It's crime-ridden. It's drug-infested. And there's a lot of redevelopment going on in the name of redevelopment, but redisplacement and regentrification. All right, let me prove. Mayor Eric Adams, New York. I ain't got to say no more. What's going on in New York? You need to be a part of almost BlackRock to have decent housing in Manhattan, especially after COVID. Mayor Andrew Dickens, Atlanta. You see the regentification, the cranes. All you gotta do is watch the cranes. It's almost like Charlotte. When you ride into or through a city and you see cranes, you know that's redevelopment. But it's not wrong if you think displacement either, right? Under the sky. Now, I'm not saying some of the ethnicity won't remain, but what I am saying is at what cost, what price, who can afford it. And one of the things that I learned too is that, and this is a whole different show, the minority contractors catch hell trying to get a piece of the pie. When it comes to that's a whole, y'all, I got so much. Let me get back to story. Like this, I'm telling you, I'm gonna talk about it. Mayor LaToya Cantrell, New Orleans. Now, out of all the names that I'm gonna name, she happens to be one of my favorite. Why? Because I told you with my divine intuition, I discern a lot more sincerity out of Mayor Cantrell. I believe she really does want to serve the people. I believe sometimes she gets caught up in the web of bureaucracy. But from my opinion, from this list that I'm going to give you, I think she is one of the better, right? And New Orleans really, not under her administration, went through a demographic shift after Katrina. When we left there and I went back, I saw the demographic shift. But I kind of like Mayor Cantrell, all right? Mayor Brandon Johnson, Chicago, enough said. After Lori Lightfoot, it would take a miracle. That whole deal, in my opinion, with Lori Lightfoot was a scam. I mean, and see, this is why I came on saying, I ain't buying it no more. In the name of blackness, you have to prove your loyalty to the people you serve and your loyalty to leadership. And to me, that was a scam. I don't even know what that whole administration was about. I know how she got in there, but Chicago mayor, I ain't buying it. Chicago has always, allegedly, with proof, been one of the most crookedest cities in America. I mean, Al Capone comes, anyway. Mayor Van Johnson, Savannah, Georgia. I don't know much about Savannah. I don't know much about Van Johnson, so I don't speak on what I don't know about. Mayor Stephen Reed, Montgomery, Alabama. I've seen Mayor Reed a few times. I have no opinion. But here, Mayor Brandon Scott, Baltimore. I have a lot of opinions. That's all I'm gonna say. All right. So, my point is that when I saw this deal, I saw something bigger. Now let me finish reading this, okay? With the state-of-the-art roof stadium, the team's return to DC will catalyze and complement the transformation of an entire bummed out piece of land that's been sitting there since the 90s, that they've tried a couple of concerts but failed because the neighborhood is so bad, the parking is so bad, the traffic trying to get off of 295 is so bad, and if you come from the other way of South Dakota, of New York Avenue, then you got the drug area. I mean, don't play this up. Don't play. See, hey, when will you stop allowing the politics? When will you stop allowing and buying into the politics? The transformation of an entire bummed out campus to include housing, notice, didn't say affordable housing. I would like to know, and if you know, please let me know, is there a deal that a certain amount of the percentage of people that live in that surrounding area are going to have first dibs. Now, of course, they have to qualify. Are going to have first dibs at some of that housing since they've paid taxes and put their blood, sweat, and tears in the district. Just questions. Parks, recreation, hotels. You got that down at the Navy Yard, which is quickly declining under black mayor like Baltimore's harbor because of crime. Don't nobody want to go to a concert with their family, sit outside, and have to duck for cover. And it's happening too often. And here you are on the other side of the Anacostia River. Who would want to stay in a hotel off of Bennings Road, off of the Anacostia River? Huh? If you're going to stay in a hotel in D.C., go down on 7th Street. Go down near the Capitol where you know at least you're safe, that they have police riding around. Go stay somewhere off of Pennsylvania Avenue. And recreation, restaurants, retail, and neighborhood amenities. Blah, 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 blah. I'm telling you, it looks like progress, but it's nostalgia is regress. Instead of saying, listen, y'all stay where you are. The stadium on Largo, the contract is out. Renew the contract. Or go to Virginia, but stay on a main expressway so that you can attract your audience from Baltimore without going through hurdles, Philadelphia without going through hurdles on Barrows Road and 295 and coming up 495 and got that gridlock right there at Barrows to get off on Benning or whatever other way they create you to get there. It's going to be gridlock. Got to go into the city. And yet, most cities are wise enough to know they're moving their main venues, not maybe necessarily out of the city, but on the outskirts, on the border, like Baltimore, like Philadelphia stadiums. You can get right off of 95 and hit the stadium pretty much. 495 and hit the stadium. This is not progression to me. It's regentification called redevelopment. So it says, like this, share this. We said that we could do it all. Commanders, housing, parking space, recreation, entertainment, and more. Together, that's what we're delivering, said Mayor Bowser. When we get control of 100 acres of land on the banks of the Anacostia, they blowing the Anacostia up like it's the banks of the James River. The filthy Anacostia. Take a look for yourself. I mean, blow it up on something else, not a dirty river that they have a hard time cleaning up. We knew right away that partnering with the Commanders would be the fastest, absolutely, because nobody else was going to invest in it. And the Ceres route to bring the RFK campus back to life. Nostalgia, nostalgia, let it go. Joe Bowser. We don't live here anymore. As we focus on the growth of our economy, bingo. We're not only bringing our team home, but we're also bringing new jobs, new revenue to our city towards 7. And they always sell that. Every regentification plan. This is old. We bring a new job. This will create jobs. What kind of job? Minimum wage jobs? Livable wages? I want to hear somebody say livable wages, not jobs. Because you can have a job making minimum wage. Say livable. So we can afford a house in D.C. So we can afford car insurance in D.C. or Baltimore. Today is a defining moment for the DMV. It sure is, in the Washington Commanders. RFK Stadium holds a legendary place. See, nostalgia. A legendary place in our history. Get this. I didn't make this up. I only repeat it. It's where the team dominated the NFL capturing Super Bowls, 3 Super Bowls and creating unforgettable memories. Didn't I tell you this was about nostalgia? Trying to bring back the aura of a team that's never coming out. Let me drop the damn mic right there. See, y'all don't believe me. I told you. When I picked this up before I read this article, I told you last week what this was. Let me read it again. It says, today is a defining moment for the DMV and the Washington Commanders. RFK Stadium holds a legendary place in our history. It's where the team, get this, dominated the NFL, capturing 3 Super Bowls and creating unforgettable memories for fans. We have the opportunity to honor that legacy. No. By building a new world-class stadium. First of all, there are people who love the Commanders that don't live in D.C. That's a change of paradigm. There are people who love the Commanders who live in neighboring states, Virginia, Philadelphia, Maryland, Delaware. Anyway. All right, then I'm going to finish. But I'm not finished. It'll be part 3 when regression looks like progression. Now we have this opportunity to honor the legacy by building a new world-class stadium, one that also is a once-in-a-generation catalyst for uplifting and transforming our region, and managing partner of the Washington Commanders with Josh Harris. Working hand in hand with the district and community leaders, we are forced on delivering an incredible home for our players and fans, creating a landmark venue that reflects the pride. But you didn't want to, when it came to reggae, when it came to, all right, maybe I'll deal with this next time. You didn't want to give a man honor and fought with y'all's legacy self to honor Chuck Brown, and it took a fight to put his name on the corner of Georgia and what's that cross street? I'm looking at it. I forget. But it took a fight. I'll have it for you next show. I'm looking right at it. Georgia. And I have it. But you're talking legacy. Oh, Chuck Brown is not legacy in D.C.? Oh, but that wouldn't bring in the billions. Sparking a new era of economic growth. RFK was once a place our fans loved. See, it's all nostalgia. It's all nostalgia and partly displacement. And opponents feared. We're determined to make it that way again. All right, y'all. My time is up. Like, share, subscribe. This gets more and more sinister to me as we get into it. We're going to dissect it. And this is happening all across the country. It's happening in Baltimore. It's happened in Baltimore. This is big fish. It's not about the stadium. It's the motive. It's the cover-up. The cover-up is worse than the crime. All right. Don't forget, follow us on our social media. Wake Up Global Media. Follow us on our TikTok. Follow us on our X. Go to our website, www.wakeupglobalnetworks.com. Don't forget, Sunday morning 7, the Voice of Hope Connection. Until next week, you have a voice. Keep lifting it. Peace.
Thank you for being a part of The Voiceover. Please follow us on all of our social media platforms to stay connected to our upcoming shows and guests. Instagram at The Voiceover Radio. Twitter at DPropheticI. That's the letter D, prophetic, EYE. If this show has enriched you in any way, please share The Voiceover among your circle. Until next time, keep allowing your voice to be heard.